Peace, y'all. Flizo here. And I want to talk about Black History Month. I want to talk about why we should get rid of Black History Month. I want to talk about why we should do something better and bigger and broader than Black History Month. And I want to talk about why Black History Month is becoming detrimental to our people now instead of helpful. It's becoming an everlasting circle. You know, it's no progression within it. It's just that, and that's it. You know, I said to myself a while ago that I wanted to start using my platform for the greater good, whatever social media platform I'm on. So I wanted it to be like an intellectual base. I wanted to be able to disperse knowledge to the people, talk to the people, share my thoughts on things, touch on certain history facts, and talk about economics, talk about a lot of things that would be helpful to our people, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of our people don't like to read, we don't like to teach, you know. Part of that is because we have been indoctrinated to believe that there's something wrong with obtaining knowledge, wisdom, understanding, comprehension, experience, patience, to learn and teach our people. We have been indoctrinated to believe that's wrong, or we're doing too much, or whatever the case may be, or it's not cool to do so until we get old with a hunchback at 80, 90 years old. That's what people want to listen to, some type of thing that's intellectual that'll be beneficial to them, you know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. And all the attributes I named with the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, comprehension, patience, those are all of some of the things that you need to want to be able to teach people and to learn, so you could be able to teach people. And these are some of the things that our people don't try to obtain, you know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. So that's something that we gotta start getting better. We gotta start being able to push our people to start doing. But I want to talk about Black History Month, and I want to talk about the roots, because a lot of people, soon as February comes, we celebrate a few black people, a few selective black people, the Martin Luther Kings, the Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubmans, whatever. Next thing you know, February's over, March here, we not blacker than black no more. We just regular black. You know what I'm saying? And we touch on a lot of certain things within Black History Month, but we never fully explore the root of Black History Month and why Black History Month is the way it is, and how did we get to this point. You know, that's never being discussed. So I wanted to take the time out to discuss it. You know what I'm saying? It all started with Carter G. Woodson. You know, now a lot of our people probably heard his name being mentioned, and you know, Carter G. But a lot of our people are not too familiar with the work this brother's done and what he's done to really try to control the motherfucking narrative of how black people were looked at, especially in the early 1900s. And for those who are unaware, Black History Month started with Carter G. Woodson. It was his whole concept. He created it, everything. Even though it started out a week, and throughout time it progressed into a month, but Carter G. Woodson created the foundation for it. You know, Carter G. was the founder of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. You know, this is something that still runs rampant in HBCUs to this day. You know what I mean? This is one of the main clubs of African American studies. It started with Carter G. You know, he was a journalist, author, historian, you know, you name it, man. Like, he was that dude back then, you know, as far as, especially in the educational system. You know, Carter G., he was born and raised in Virginia. Ironically, that's the same state that slavery was kicked off at in America, with the transatlantic slave trade and cattle slavery. And after the Civil War was fought between the Union and the Confederacy, his parents wanted to migrate to West Virginia because it was a black school that was being built at the time over there, and they felt as though, you know, Carter G would get a better education over there. You know what I'm saying? So they wanted to take the move. So they moved to West Virginia, but he got Carter G into school, but Carter G barely worked because they were so poor. He couldn't afford to miss out any days of trying to help feed his family. So Carter G's parents had him working on the family farm more than he was in school to help raise money for the family, you know. And it was hard for them when they moved out to West Virginia. You know, ex-slaves, not knowing much, not knowing nothing really, you know, but except that they have the illusion of being free. And they were just trying to make the best ways that they could, you know, with what they had. So due to him not being able to make it to school so much, he eventually taught himself math, reading, science, and he developed himself to be intellectually sharp by like the age of 16, 17. You know what I'm saying? You know, then after a while he started working the coal mines. Then sooner or later he actually went back to high school, and he was so intellectually sharp by how he self-taught himself. He actually got his diploma in 2 years, and then he was out of there. You know what I'm saying? Now he graduated, got his diploma in 2 years. Then he became a teacher for about 2-3 years. Then after that, he actually became the principal of the very school he graduated from. You know, before he went off to the Philippines to become like a school supervisor or something. You know. Then after a while, he went off to Berea College in Kentucky, and he received his Bachelor of Literature degree there. Then he went off to the University of Chicago. He got his master's there. Then he went off to Harvard, and he finished off his history PhD at Harvard. And at that time, he was the second black man or black person in general to receive any high honors like that from Harvard behind W.E.B. Du Bois. So that was pretty big at that time. So Carter G was moving. He was beginning to really get on his bike. You know what I'm saying? You know, so in 1915, he had published one of his first books, and it was one of his biggest books too. It was called The Education of the Negro Prior to 1861. And you know, basically he was just addressing the way black people in history was neglected by American society, the school systems, and just white academia in general. You know what I'm saying? And he just wanted to put a stop to it. He just felt as though we were just so overlooked, and they told very little about us in the history in general, especially in mainstream media. You know, so after a while, Carter G was just on a roll. He just started publishing mad books and mad different pieces of literature exposing the fact that mainstream media takes black contributions out of American history, and they try to box us in our little corner. They wasn't trying to make our people and the people that made huge contributions to America and American society in general. They wasn't trying to mainstream our people like they mainstream Albert Einstein, like they mainstream George Washington, like they mainstream Elvis, or even though Elvis wasn't out at that time, but I'm just saying in general, he wanted that same type of recognition for us, you know. And you know, Carter G was just really frustrated on how the school curriculums literally made it their duty to overlook black people and not teach about black contributions. And so his main thing was really the school curriculums as well too. And he was trying to put a stop to that, knowing there was a lot of black kids who were starting to really be accepted in schools now and things of that nature in the early 1900s. And so he wanted a equal curriculum, you know what I'm saying? Rightfully so, you know? So, you know, after a while, that just became Carter G's purpose, and that just became his passion, man. He just wanted to beat it into white media's heads that, you know, our history is not just this history that's just in a little portion of America, in the corner of America somewhere. We belong to mainstream history just like y'all people belong to mainstream history. Our contributions is just as important. So when he was in Chicago, that's when he got inspired to make to make the Association of African American Life and Studies, that's when he came up with that whole venture, because he just wanted to encourage young adults, young children, kids, anywhere, anybody of the black diaspora to study their people and to learn where they came from so they can know what to do in the future. You know what I mean? That he just understood that early, and he was trying to act on that. You know, shit. After a while, Carter G even came out with his own newspaper. You know, he got sick of white media, you know what I'm saying, trying to control the narrative and always painting us as monsters every time they put us in an article. So he came out with his own newspaper, you know, the Journal of Negro History. You know, and he controlled the narrative. He talked about, he published the black advancements and black contributions in America at that time. He took it upon himself. He was even a fucking columnist for Marcus Garvey's weekly journal, Negro World. You know, the late great Marcus Garvey. You know what I'm saying? And he just got tired of it, man. He was just controlling the narrative now. He was starting to take things in his own hands, you know. So it didn't stop with Carter G. You know, he wanted to connect with other black educators and black leaders, and he wanted to come together so he can try to spearhead everybody to try to control the narrative. Take the narrative and control it for ourselves, because obviously white media ain't doing us no justice. You know what I'm saying? They paint us as monsters all the time, so on and so forth. So in 1920, he created the Associated Press. Now, still to this day, and especially if you read a lot of books, you would know the Associated Press is a book publishing company. And to this day, it is still the oldest black book publishing company ever in existence. And this is also the company that, after Carter G created it, he published 20 books of his own under it. You know what I'm saying? Including his biggest piece of literature, The Miseducation of the Negro. You know what I'm saying? So Carter G was moving. He was doing his part. Now, The Miseducation of the Negro, that book really started to open the minds of our people at that time, little by little. You know, because there wasn't that many pieces of literature really exposing white America at that time, you know. But that one right there started to open the minds, but it didn't really necessarily motivate white media, mainstream media, the academias and the school curriculums at that time to really make our history mainstream and respect us as such. And that's what Carter G really wanted in the overall grand scale, next to our people opening our third eye. You know what I'm saying? So he knew that, yeah, we seen a little bit progression. Black people really starting to read more and starting to see things for what they are, but we still got a long way to go. After a while, school systems even got a little bit more kind of like disrespectful towards our people. They just kept omitting us from the black history books. Not even black history books, the history books in general, because he wanted us to be included with regular history. He didn't want no names on it, no nothing, put us in a box. He wanted us to be regular history. They still excluded us and did everything in their power to try to hide pieces of history. A lot, like big portions of history at that. You know what I'm saying? So this really started the misrepresentation of our people really started to frustrate Carter G as years went by and days went by, you know what I'm saying? So he just really started to dig deeper now, you know? Carter G realized that 3 or 4 sets of hands is better than one. So he started connecting with every black educator, every black organization he could get his hands on to try to inspire motherfuckers like, man, y'all gotta grow the same passion I have for this shit, because if we don't try to normalize or get in the subconscious thinking or the subconscious minds of our people and get them to study and get them to always respect history and look back at history and make our history mainstream, if we don't work for this now, it's not going to be no future in the future. You know what I'm saying? He realized that. So he started to connect with anybody he could to try to get our history out there. So a lot of the educators, along with Carter G, fought, right? And in 1926, the government decided to grant Carter G and black people with Negro History Week. And who created Negro History Week? Who created the concept, the structure behind it? Yours truly, Carter motherfucking G. Woodson. You know what I'm saying? And they gave him Negro History Week, and they told him to pick a week. He picked the second week in February. You know why? Because at that time, he picked it for two people. Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, because both of their birthdays are in the second week. Abraham Lincoln was on February 12th, and Frederick Douglass, they say his birthday was February 14th, but he was a slave, so they just gave him that. So we really don't know exactly his birthday, but they kind of guessed that his birthday was around that time frame, so they just gave him the 14th. But at that time, black people loved Abraham Lincoln because we believe that he was the reason that we were set free from being slaves in 1865 with the Emancipation Proclamation. And we loved Frederick Douglass because that was just, he was like the Bill Cosby at that time, the Jay-Z. Like, black people, we just loved and respect Frederick Douglass. So he did that in dedication to both of those guys. You know, and that's how you got the February concept. Y'all get where I'm going with this? You know, so the whole Negro History Week structure and concept was basically Carter G's way to combat the exclusion of blacks being placed in American history. You know what I'm saying? And that was the first call to action to attempt to try to mainstream our history. You know what I'm saying? And his biggest thing was, if we don't get that respect from the mainstream media, now it's up to us to develop a subconscious mind state to where we want to automatically progress as a people, find out what we can do, look at our past situations and see how they can help our present and our future situations, acknowledge some of the hardships that our people had to suffer, so we will know not to suffer those hardships again, and knowing how to circumvent those. Like, he wanted us to be on a constant intellectual learning voyage. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what he wanted. He didn't want us to just be confined to a certain moment where we just trying to get intellectual. He wanted that to be us all the time, because that's what every other culture was doing, except for us. And you know, we couldn't help that, because, you know, when we were set free as slaves, we were let go in the wilderness with no education, no morals, really no religion, no name. We were just people out in the wilderness. You know what I'm saying? So we were really with nothing. Intellectually, economically, we were just without anything, you know? So we had to build from scratch. So, and it started with just having a mentality of just knowing how we got to a certain point, and he understood that. So the passing of Negro History Week and how it was progressing throughout HBCUs around the country and all of that, Carter G seen how beneficial this could be to our people, especially to a lot of the black kids coming up, because, you know, we were just projected as slaves and damn near wild animals. They labeled us 3/5 of a human being in the Constitution, and this was just, like I said, damage control and trying to just really take back the narrative of our people. And he knew Negro History Week would bring some type of self-esteem, some type of influence, especially to the young children, to want to do better and to want to be better than the ancestors. You know what I'm saying? And he realized that. So getting this Negro History Week starting was getting off to like a good start, you know what I'm saying, as far as just taking back the narrative. Negro History Week started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And Carter G started making curriculums up on his own, and he was making a whole bunch of just different study materials, and he was just dropping off a lot of things to a lot of the predominantly black high schools, elementary schools, HBCUs, and he was making rounds up and down the East Coast, West Coast, all over the nation, and connecting with different black educators and dropping off his school materials and curriculums to them, and just passing it on. You know what I'm saying? And it just began to just lift off after that. You know. Then a lot of the Negro history clubs start forming in a lot of the schools across the nation. That's how you got a lot of the black history clubs in schools that you have today, and so on and so forth. So the thing just kept getting bigger until it started to lose steam a little bit in the midst of getting big, because, of course, a lot of these greedy white media motherfuckers started trying to dip their hands in there, to throw a wrench in there, to try to die it down, and motherfuckers just started doing things for financial, monetary gain. Didn't give a fuck about if the people learned or not. People was just taking certain bits so they could put it on TV to get ratings, and they was just using the Negro History Week for their benefit, the white power structure. So it tended to get a little bit diluted, but it was still on the rise. Now, even though the idea of Negro History Week started getting bigger, Carter G. Woodson ain't want Negro History Week to last forever. He obviously wanted it to be a week, going from a week to 2 weeks, 2 weeks to a month, a year, and he wanted it to be subconsciously embedded in our minds, to constantly be historians of our own people, of our own struggles, of our own accomplishments, things of that nature. He wanted us to be fully aware of that. So it would be almost like an automatic thing, like when you get up and wash your ass, brush your teeth, eat. He wanted that to be the same type of system, you know what I mean, with us learning about our people and how we can do better. He didn't want to relegate us to just learning about our people in a fucking week. He wanted this to be just, and especially the school systems, he wanted the school systems to put us in the history books, and to have a lot of these curriculums teach a lot of our children, especially the schools that's in our black neighborhoods, wanted a lot of those curriculums to teach the children constantly about our people, just like they constantly teach math, reading, social studies, and all these other subjects. They wanted that to be a constant, regular part of the curriculum. That was his, that was his mission, you know what I'm saying? It was bigger than just a week and that's it. You know, his goal was to have the schools do year-round inclusion of blacks in American history. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the black educators, a lot of the black organizations across the nation, a lot of the black leaders at that time really started to rally behind Carter G. It was like, fuck it, we with the big bro, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of our people, a lot of our leaders and educators were at the city hall meetings and the city council meetings, the board of educations across the nation. Like, you know, it really started getting big, you know. And in the 1940s, that's when a lot of our people started to push for Negro History Month now. So a lot of the rallies to start Negro History Month started in West Virginia. You know, that's where Carter G got a lot of his education from and learned a lot about life there. So it started there. And then in the 1950s, Carter G unfortunately passed, and that put every fucking thing at a standstill, at a halt. Like, all the black organizations, the educators, nobody just ain't want to move no more. They ain't want to do nothing no more. You know what I'm saying? That just took the wind out of everybody. So, you know, during the 1950s, it took a while for our people to remobilize again due to Carter G passing. But soon as the 1960s hit, it was like a big black conscious surge going across all the black communities across the nation. You know, of course, due to the fact that you had a lot of Jim Crow laws still in place, a lot of segregation laws still in place, and a lot of lynching was going on. So it was still crazy times around that time, but we still had like this conscious uprise in the 1960s. So at Kent State, that's where a lot of the rallies with the black educators, the black students, the black organizations, and all of that in Kent State started rallying for weeks so they can really get Negro History Month passed. Now the idea became rehashed to get it passed now, and it became like a thing all over again in the 60s. So a lot of our people wanted to continue fighting in memory of, in honor of Carter G. So after a while, the Black Conscious movement at Kent State University started to influence all the HBCUs across the nation. You know what I'm saying? All the Black United Student Organizations started to like come together from each HBCU, and they pushed for the expansion of Negro History Week to a month. They pushed for that shit for like the whole 60s. You know what I'm saying? And finally, in fucking 1976, that cracker Gerald Ford, who was the president at the time, decided to say, you know what? I'm getting tired of these black people complaining all the time and all up in the White House and outside my house doing whatever they gotta do, whatever, loud as hell. I'm ready to pass this shit. Let's make it Negro History Month now. So they changed it and took the Negro off and made it Black History Month and gave us the month of February, since we had Negro History Week the second week of February because of, like I said, Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. Now mind you, Gerald Ford ain't give black folks and grant us Black History Month just because he cared about black kids and black people being intellectually leveled. He didn't give a fuck about that. They, just like the government always do, they seen monetary gain in passing Black History Month because they get to sell certain products in their stores and all of that and act like they give a fuck. It was all a money move. Just like the Emancipation Proclamation was a money move. You sent a whole bunch of niggas in the wilderness who don't know nothing. You set a whole bunch of laws to the point where whatever they do, if they sneeze the wrong way, they get locked up, and you profit off of them being slaves in the industry. You're industrializing slavery, so you're profiting off of them giving you free labor from being a fucking prisoner. So niggas don't do nothing righteous when it come to the government. It's all a money move, and they make it appear righteous when they get on the fucking TV to spew propaganda, you know? So they had no desire to even give a fuck about if we learned or not, you know? But like I said, they granted us Black History Month. Now, the biggest misconception about this whole thing, this whole Black History Month thing, is that it was supposed to be around for fucking ever. It was supposed to be here year after fucking year, after generation, after eons, after eons, after eons. No, motherfucker. Carter G, if Carter G, when he got the first Negro History Week, when he did the first one, and after that one, if our people would have woke up and that was the only Negro History Week he needed, and people would have started putting us in mainstream media more, our old people would have started going on different intellectual voyages to find out who they are and why they're in the situation they're in and the environment they're in. If our people would have had a system to want to learn on our own, then he would have let Negro History Week slide 1 year, and then the next year he would have just said, fuck it, because my job is done. That was the point. He wanted us to develop a system in our psyche to want to keep learning about us. That's the whole point. He wanted Negro History Week, from a month to a year to forever. The problem is, in the 1970s, niggas started getting complacent. From the 1970s on out, when Gerald Ford first passed and first approved February to be Black History Month, we just said, alright, fuck it, the job is done. You know what I mean? We just sat there Indian style and we just let the shit rock forever. And the crazy thing is, even in today's time, black contributions are still not predominant in the history books. It's still not in there like it should be. It's a little bit progression since back then, but that shit ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? The crazy thing is, these motherfucking school systems still ain't shit. They trying to do a little bit better with putting out contributions in the history books now, but it's nothing to talk about. It's really no real progression. They just do certain things because they feel as though they got to, because they want niggas to shut the fuck up just a little bit. You know what I mean? But you know, even though the school system's duty is to put a lot of these things in the history books, with all this fucking technology, all these phones, we're in the era of information. It should be no reason that you got these duckhead ass parents sitting in Indian style, waiting for a school to teach them about some shit that they should know about really at home for real. So it really starts with us. It's bad enough a lot of our kids don't really like to read, and a lot of adults don't like to read either. But we got so many things that make information so simplified to look up, and it should be no excuse. It should be no reason we sitting here waiting for motherfucking February so we can be blacker than black, so we can put all these heartfelt captions about how we love our people so much. We all on these radio stations, we all on the fucking videos and all this other shit talking about, oh, what's the greatest black athletes and black movies and black this and black that. And then all of a sudden, February 28th, or if it's the leap year, the 29th, whatever, when all of that shit in and March 1st hit, oh, we just regular black now. The dashiki is off, and we ain't sitting on top of a building with a goddamn fist up. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden niggas is just regular. You know, the melanin got a little bit toned down after February and before February. Cut it the fuck out, man. You know, like, my nigga, there has literally been no advancement or progression in this Black History Month thing since the 60s or the 70s probably. Literally, my nigga. No advancement. And you know, and that's our fault. You know? Because we didn't continue to fight that a lot of our ancestors and elders started. You know what I mean? A lot of the generations after that started getting real complacent. And you know, what it's done is it made Black History Month so stagnant, and it made Black History Month, the whole thing, go in circles. Now when February hit, right? You learn about 4 or 5 people to the max. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, fucking Harriet Tubman. You might throw a little slavery in there. And that's about it. You know, it's just like it makes people think like, damn, black people are just slaves, and after that they got Oprah, they got Martin Luther King, and he had a dream and he wanted to hold hands with white people, and that's all black people done. And then it causes a cycle every year. The same motherfuckers, the same problems. It's like, we don't talk about nothing else. So it really, Black History Month done got so motherfucking watered down in the last 50 goddamn years. We do the same shit. And the thing about it, our people, we don't even realize it. And white people can't wait till Black History Month get over, because they know we just gonna be satisfied with just those 4 people we always talk about, you know. And they say, no, black people ain't gonna fight for nothing else. They got they month. They, you know, we granted it to them, you know, and we could just satisfy them with 4 or 5 people. Put on little cool commercials. Have Hillary Clinton wear dashiki and be, oh, but white people love us now. They really actually care now. And then they're convinced. So these motherfucking stations and programs that you see on TV, oh, they don't give a fuck. They just do it because it's going to up the ratings. You know? So, like, we really ain't progressed nothing with black history. Intellectually, nothing. Like, it's just there. It comes every year. Is no type of, it's nothing to make it better. It's just there. And then it comes and goes. That's it. We must stop the black history hype every year. After this, we gotta find a solution and do something bigger and better, my nigga. Because it just keeps going in circles and circles every fucking year, bro. Every year. Like, my nigga, we got millions and millions and billions of resources and sources of information for people to dive into constantly, all day, every day, 24 hours, all the time, my nigga. It should be no fucking excuse. You black educators, y'all should be motherfucking applying pressure to the motherfucking power structure. The educational power structure. To try to get certain shit passed, man. To try to continue to grow this Black History Month thing. To you motherfucking black social media fucking influencers, or you dumbass blogs who just be thirsty for other people's business, shit that don't got no substance and is shit that's not gonna progress your motherfucking people. Y'all should be motherfucking posting and talking about some intellectual things. Y'all should be dispersing intellectual food out there. In the universe, my nigga. Y'all should be putting that out there, bro. But nah, y'all spend all day on y'all hands and knees, thirsty as hell for motherfucking who doing this in this relationship, controversy with this person, this fight, that, and ain't doing nothing of substantial value, bro. You know what I mean? All you black teachers, all you black organizations in these HBCUs, bro. Y'all should be applying pressure. All the people out there, y'all need to stop being meme studiers. I see a lot of memes out there that be so misinformed, but it's so put together in an articulate way, and the verbiage is so good in it. Y'all just take what it is for face value and think it's true and repost. You don't look up information. You don't fact check. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Your favorite superstar, he done posted it like it's facts, and you reposting it because you like the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's another thing, man. We need to stop just posting fucking anything. Niggas need to really motherfucking read and dive deep in a lot of these things and a lot of this information that we see. You know what I'm saying? We just can't take shit for face value all the time. A lot, like the social media that made a lot of our people fucking naive as hell. And that's another bad thing about it, man. That's another reason why a lot of information gets diluted, and a lot of people really don't know where to go, even if they want to get intellectually sound. To all the recreational centers and all the black communities across the fucking nation, I love the fact that the kids got somewhere that they can get some recreation time in, you know, mingle and network with different kids, but they need some education within that recreation. Because this not no birds and bees motherfucking society that they coming up in. This is not the shit that we grew up in. This is a totally different society. It's a whole bunch of confusion going on. The powers that be is really trying to close in the walls, especially on a lot of our black men within that criminal justice system. You know what I'm saying? And they do it in slick ways. And a lot of our kids need to be on ball about that. This homosexual agenda is running rampant. Our kids need to be on ball about that. And it's a lot of bullshit within both of those agendas and more agendas that's really normalizing a bunch of shit that shouldn't be normalized. And our kids need to be on ball about all of that shit. So it ain't no time for no sweet talk, putting sugar on sentences with these kids. They need to know the raw and the real. My nigga, think about this shit. They are literally allowing LGBT courses in schools starting at elementary. They are literally allowing this before they allow Black history courses, before they allow abundance of economic courses, before they allow courses on how to do your taxes, before they even allow mental health courses. A lot of kids suffer from a whole bunch of shit. Before they allow marketing courses, before they allow surplus courses, finance courses, all the things that we need that really motherfucking matter in real time, in real life, they are circumventing all of this for bullshit courses. So you better motherfucking teach your kids on your own. It starts with you as the parent, you as the older brother, you as the OG or whatever you is to any of these young people out here. It starts with you. Of course, we're going to get on the school systems later because it starts with them, because a lot of our kids spend a lot of time with them, most of them they do at home. So it starts with them too, but you are the parent. You made the motherfucker. So take the responsibility to teach them the right shit. See, our problem is with black people when it comes to being compared to other cultures, you know, we are not mentally and financially competitive with other cultures. And the reason why is because a lot of us don't know about our people. We don't know about the conditions that we came from. We don't know how to make our conditions better, and we don't study group economics. We don't enforce that in our households enough. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, those are all the things that I name are all things that a lot of groups all over the world use to empower their group of people. You know what I'm saying? So we can't rely on a white power structure who wants to keep the power to themselves to teach us things that are going to empower us. So that's why I said if the educational system don't do it, we'll get to them later. But it starts at home first. You know what I mean? one of the words in politics is policy. And one of the places we can implement the most policy is in our homes. And then when that policy that was implemented in our homes reaches outside of our homes and it inspires other families and it inspires the community, that's how we gonna push forward. You feel me? It's simple shit. And that's one of the biggest things about black people. We're just, compared to other cultures and other groups of people, we are just not a mentally and financially competitive people. Like, out of every group of people, we're the people who lack the least, who have the least economic intellect about how just economics and group economics work and how to keep a dollar circulating and things of that nature. We're just bad at getting that type of knowledge and managing our money too. And a lot of that is because of the systems that were put in place that were literally holding us from owning homes. A lot of the governmental policies and a lot of the policies that the federal housing authorities at that time were making in the Jim Crow era. Because we all know home equity is how a lot of people keep wealth in America. That's one of the keys. And real estate in general, business owning, home owning, whatever. But home equity is one of the main things how people send their kids to college, reinvest into another property. That's the key. And we were held back from a lot of things for a long time. So a lot of groups got a lot of head starts over us. And when you get to this era, they even make us feel bad for the things that they did to us. They call us lazy, they call us old black people. No, motherfucking niggas not lazy. It's just that niggas had to come from out the mud because the system been holding us back for so goddamn long. And niggas gotta make something out of nothing damn near. You know? And the problem with us is, it's not that we can't do nothing in America, because times are a little bit better than they were back then, but the problem still remains is that we have to do 3 or 4 times as much to get half as much. You know what I mean? And it shouldn't be that way. Just like everybody else can get a loan this easy and do this and do that and won't have to do extra and go through extracurricular things to get things done, then, you know, it'll be a better environment for us. But it's not like that. And like I said, man, a lot of it starts with a lot of our people changing our mind state. The thing is, a lot of our people don't know better. So the people who don't know better can't take accountability for the things that they don't know that they're fucking doing. But the people who know better and not doing better are the ones who need to take accountability. You dig what I'm saying? Like, we don't find a lot of the things that we need to find out that will be intellectually good for us. We don't look up these things because they're not cool to look up. We call these things, we call a lot of things we need to know. I done heard it all. Oh, you talking that Malcolm X shit, that Martin Luther King shit, that black shit. It's not none of that shit. Those are just little names they put on it to belittle it. You know what I'm saying? This is life shit. It ain't no Malcolm X, no Martin. This is life shit. Shit that you need to know, nigga, to make your life better for you and your family, nigga. You see what I'm saying? Like, a whole bunch of people would love to be ignorant versus trying to find some shit out because they feel as though it's not cool, you know? So a lot of our thinking starts with just the way we process things, our mind state. It's just that, we really have to change it. I had wrote a quote down, and I had seen it somewhere, but I had wrote it down, and I want to read it back, and I want to say it verbatim because I find this very interesting because it's so fucking true. It says, most black people are not asleep. They just simply don't give a fuck about their race. You're not waking them up, you're annoying them. And it don't get no truer than that. That's equivalent to, you want to hide something from a black person? Put it in a book. See, the problem is, we can't keep saying things that just sound cool, doing things that look cool. We have to do what's right. You know what I'm saying? And we like to say cool shit like, less talk, more action. Ooh, it just sounds good. It just sounds like you just ready to do something. You're not lazy or do. No, motherfucker. That's not the problem. See, we are one of the only cultures who can't afford to keep saying that fucking saying, let's talk more action. A lot of other cultures can afford that, but we can't. See, the black people back in those Jim Crow era, in that Jim Crow era that was owning a lot of businesses, when a lot of black businesses was flourishing, that's the generation of black folks that can use the let's talk more action quote. You know what I'm saying? But this generation can't afford that at all, because one thing about knowledge is the application and the foundation to everything in manifestation. You feel me? So niggas need to talk more and then do the action. You can't just have a little bit to say and then go out and try to execute whatever that was, because you wasn't talking enough, you wasn't building enough, you don't even know where to start, you don't got no guidance. A lot of us are misguided, and we need awareness. We need knowledge, awareness, and then the action. So fuck all that let's talk more action bullshit. Right now, a lot of our people need to be set on the right motherfucking path. So more talking and more motherfucking action. And now I want to propose another solution as far as Black History goes. We did Negro History Week. We're doing Black History Month, and we did it for a long time. Now I think what Flizo thinks, I think we should now move on to Black History Day. And I mean Black History Day as in one day out of every week. I don't give a fuck if you on the internet. I don't give a fuck if you in school. I don't give a fuck if you on YouTube. I don't give a fuck where you at. I would say, let's say Monday. At every Monday, at the beginning of every week, is Black History Day. You teach your kids about something. It don't gotta be about ancestors. It could be about circumstance that black people suffered, because we suffered a lot of them. The Jim Crow era, mass incarceration, the Emancipation Proclamation. Talk about how blacks had to fight in the Civil War. It's a lot of societal problems that we're going through. It's a lot of things that you can base what you're teaching the children off of. It just don't got to be about a person and what they've done and all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I think we should do Black History Day. Every Monday should be Black History Day. And rather we, like I said, we on our timeline just posting something about somebody or something that has to do with the black diaspora on Monday. You know what I'm saying? Teach your kids something on Monday. The schools should teach something to the kids on Monday. And it don't gotta be with them. It can start within the household, and it can go outside the household, and it can inspire other households, and that's how we gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? They got a whole bunch of, right now it could be an unofficial day. They got a whole bunch of unofficial holidays and days. 420, National Hugging Day, April Fools. These are all not real holidays, but they days that a lot of people acknowledge. So we can start small. We can start from just knowing that Mondays belong to us. It don't gotta be passed in the office and in the big seats in the Congress and all of that. It can start with our Congress. And then when we get serious enough to the point where we keep building and we make this a thing, Mondays are just deemed as Black History Days, then you just like it started off small with us and it started off big with the Congress passing a lot of these things for Black History Month, we can do the same thing with Black History Day. So that's what I think, man. Let's do something new. Let's do something that's more broad. I'm tired of this Black History Month shit. You know what I mean? Niggas is finding easy way outs to do shit. Oh yeah, let's talk about Martin Luther King. That's it. I had a dream. And niggas want to put on 2-3 dashikis. Niggas want to have the shea butter. Niggas want to be blacker than black, man. Cut it the fuck out with the phony shit, man. Guess what? Melanin don't fade after February 28th or 29th. And it don't magically come on black people when February get here. Black pigmentation the melanocytes, melanin, black people are here after and before February. So nigga, act like it.